Hello, friends, and welcome to Tori Talks TV. This is our review of Game of Thrones Season 1, Episode 10. The last episode of Season 1.
Finale.
The finale episode. Okay, so this episode is entitled Fire and Blood. Ooh, scary. Sounds intriguing. Okay, so at this point, news has spread of Ned's death, and Catelyn and Robb are devastated. What a absolutely sad and heartbreaking scene when Catelyn, you see her find out, and then Robb's over there
like
hacking away. I know. He's just so distraught, and it's a very, very sad moment. But she's like, so she's sad at first, but then she's like, I have to be strong for my boy, right?
Who's the king of the north?
Who's technically now the king of the north. Exactly. So Catelyn gets Jaime to finally admit that he pushed Bran from that tower, right? So I'm sure she feels a little bit better, being like, I finally got you to admit that, you are, you always want someone to blame.
Yes.
So now we have you to blame. And he has no remorse about it, a little jerk. But I'm
sure she wants to kill him too, but he's way more valuable
alive than dead. Exactly. So then news gets to Jon, and he's now contemplating leaving the Wall to help his family, even though we know that if he were to desert his post at the Wall, he would be beheaded.
And it's this whole dichotomy between you guys, you understand there's the war, the enemy to the north, and the Game of Thrones.
Yes.
And Jon's in this whole I'm here to fight the enemy of the north, but then my family's playing this Game of Thrones, and they're both important because there's blood being shed, but I don't know what to do.
What do I do? Yeah.
It's very complicated.
I know. He just wants to do the right thing. Our sweet Jon Snow, of course. Yeah, so then another Stark to talk about is Arya. So Arya, she gets to meet Gendry, one of Robert's bastards, who's traveling with her north with Yoren. So it kind of is like, okay, well, where will this end up? What's going to happen with Arya, right? Hope she's okay. Now she's a boy at this point, right? With the short hair. Trying to save her life, you know? So she's on the run, a fugitive, if I may. So let's talk about freaking Joffrey. He is at it again.
Yes.
So first he has the tongue of that singer cut off, totally abusing his power. He's on his little high horse, and he's like, I don't like that.
He makes him choose to, your tongue or your hands.
You sicko.
Just make the choice yourself. You make him have to choose.
Just kill him at this point. Yeah. Because either one is, terrible for him.
So can he get worse, though? Yes, he can.
9.7. 9.7 out of 10 at this point. He's getting worse. So then, now, this is where it really happens. This is where the blood in my veins is boiling. He gets Sansa. He makes Sansa look at her father's head on that stake. Literally makes her look at her treasonous father. And then I was like, you're dead. You're done. Me.
It's over.
I don't like you. 10 out of 10. You're evil. And so that's actually what put me over.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
Maybe 11.
Yeah. I think he's past. He's off the charts at this point for me.
Yeah. So at this point, you're like, Sansa, do you realize what you just got yourself into? You wanted this. I'm sure she didn't know that Joffrey was this evil, right?
She had no idea what she was getting herself into. Now she does. Right. We see her self waking up to this whole thing, that whole exchange on that. There's that bridge. There's this moment where she kind of
wants
to you think she's gonna push him over.
Exactly.
But then the hound stops her.
Interesting.
But more for her own safety. He was
looking out for her.
He's a very interesting character. He'll play a pivotal role in seasons to come.
Yes.
But she also talks back. She talks back, and because Joffrey says something when I deliver Robb's head to you, and she's like, maybe he'll deliver your head to me.
Get it, girl.
And then he's like, oh, hit her.
No, because at this point you're like, Sansa, honestly, maybe the weaker of the Stark girls, right? So I'm like, oh man, you know what I mean? She's just gonna be submissive. But at this point, when you said she talks back, you're like, oh, there's hope for her.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
She's getting stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Totally.
So good for you, because I was not Team Sansa.
I know.
At this point, but now.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, she's only 13, so you gotta cut her some slack.
That's true.
But I mean, at this point,
I know. What does she
cut
have?
off your daddy's head.
Oh, poor girl. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with her. And then we have to talk about the most beautiful, Dany. So Dany attempted to use like the black magic that she got from the witch that she saved, right, from being raped and abused, and she wants to bring her Khal Drogo back. She wants to save him because he died because of that wound that festered and became infected, right? So the witch tries to warn her, like, oh, you know, he might not come back like you think, you know what I mean? And then you have to sacrifice life for death. So the baby didn't survive, right?
The baby in the belly.
The baby in the belly, yeah. So anyway, the baby dies for the sake of Khal Drogo's life, but he's like a vegetable. He's like comatose, like it's not the same. But you know what really ticks me and grinds my gears? This witch all along had bad intentions.
She knew that was going to happen.
Yes, she did.
Well, I kind of like, I'm really intrigued by that whole storyline because she was like, you think you saved me, but you saved me from the fourth person that raped me.
Right.
So I was kind of like on the side of...
You kind of feel for her.
Yeah, this whole world is not under anyone's control.
Yeah.
Like, Dany thinks she can save people, but then also, like, they've already been through so much. So I'm not super mad at the witch, but the witch did know.
Right, but Dany's my girl.
Yeah, I know.
My homegirl. So I was like, you wrong her, you wrong me.
Yep.
So yeah, so the witch needs to be burned. So Dany realizes, like, Khal Drogo's nothing. He's not the same Khal Drogo. So she
like smothers him with a pillow.
She had to do it, though.
It was a really touching moment.
I know, it was really sad. So he is in a very honorable ceremony, burned in the fire along with the witch, whatever. So this is where we get to see Dany walk into the fire, and you're like, no, Dany, don't do it. Like, I thought she was sacrificing herself. Like, oh my god, I can't, you know, if my Khal Drogo, if Khal is dying, the Khaleesi must die with him. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love her. Please don't go. No. It all works out for us because the very last scene of season 1 is her emerging from the ashes.
Yes.
And she's naked, and she's got 3 little baby dragons. Those eggs were in there, right? So she thinks like she's like burning everything together, right? The whole family together, right? No. The dragons are very much alive. She's very much alive. And the people around her, the Dothraki people, are like, oh my gosh, you survived that. You are the queen.
You're our queen.
You're our, queen of dragons. They believe, exactly. Yes. And it was one of the biggest moments of season 1. Yeah. And
an awesome moment.
If that doesn't get you excited for season 2, like, what else will? Because I didn't.
Know.
It's not that I didn't see it coming, but like the way it all panned out in the dramatic way that the directors made it out to be, you're like, oh, okay, this chick's tough. Yeah.
And, you know, by the time we got to season 10, it kind of made me reflect back to season 1. One of the first scenes is where Ned has to behead the deserter from the wall.
Oh.
And Bran is forced to watch it. And one of Ned's, like, signature, like, lines is, like, what does he say? He says, the man who passes the sentence should swing the sword.
Right.
And it's one of Ned's, like, noble characteristics. And, like, just to contrast that with what Joffrey does, like, in this whole episode, where he's, like, mad at Sansa, but he's not the one that strikes her.
Right.
Or, like, when he passes the sentence on Ned, he's not the one that does the beheading. He is, like, not, like, anywhere near the man that Ned is.
No.
And
he's
so,
not a man.
I know, like, just to connect, like, what has happened between season 1 and season 10. And
from
then
beginning to end, from first episode to last episode.
It just, like, ties together. I kind of, like, got goosebumps again.
Yeah,
thinking
that's true.
about that. Because, I mean, it was
Joffrey, you are no king. And you are not honorable.
No. And Ned, maybe a little bit too honorable.
It's a classic case of nice guys finish last, to put it mildly.
Yes.
Yeah, he was trying to be honorable, do right by everybody, and look what happened.
Yes.
And it's scary because that's a stark theme that carries out throughout the seasons. Okay. We did it. That's the end of season 1. Thank you so much for watching our review, but don't miss our review of Game of Thrones season 2 coming soon. Don't miss it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.